the scrapyard moon of Calvaros. 9 wasn't supposed to be anyone's final stop. It was a graveyard of forgotten tech, shattered war machines, broken satellites, and rusted dreams, perfect for a backwater mechanic like Jarin Kess. Jarin had worked in the moon's central salvage dome for 3 years, patching together whatever fell from orbit. He didn't ask questions. The more wrecked it was, the more credits he made. But nothing prepared him for what he found in the wreckage of a downed Vesari war barge. The barge had crash-landed 3 kilometers from the yard. Regulations said he needed military clearance to approach Vesari wrecks, but rules didn't keep his lights on. So he grabbed his tools, slung his plasma cutter over his shoulder, and rode his hover sled straight into trouble. When he reached the twisted ship, his first impression was death. Blackened hull, shattered armor plating, energy scars from a full orbital strike. Whatever happened to this barge, it wasn't an accident. Someone wanted it destroyed. Jarin ducked into the smoking interior, mask filtering the fumes. He moved fast through corridors lit only by sparking wires and flickering green Vesari glyphs. A fallen drone clattered underfoot. Then, in the heart of the cargo hold, he saw her. A dragon, chained, wounded, alive, 7 meters long, plated in ridged violet scales. A Vesari battle dragon. He'd seen them only once, in a grainy news feed showing them torching human carriers like paper. This one was emaciated, ribs showing, scales chipped, and beside her, huddled under a wing, was a much smaller shape, a hatchling. Jarin froze. He'd never seen a hatchling before. Most Vesari bred their war beasts off-world, away from human eyes. But here they were, mother and child, chained, wounded, and abandoned. The mother dragon raised her head slightly, her eyes glowing dimly. No snarl, no flame, just exhaustion. What the hell did they do to you? Jarin whispered. The mother let out a weak, almost whisper-like growl, low and long. Her body bore brutal signs of neglect. Burn marks, whipped scars, even embedded shrapnel. The hatchling was curled up tightly, shivering. Jarin should have left, walked away, called it in, but instead, he walked forward. It took hours. The Vesari restraints were built to hold dragons even in combat rage. Jarin had to bypass 4 fail-safes, melt through reinforced shackles, and not get himself burned alive when the mother flinched. He fed them as emergency rations. The mother refused at first, but a hatchling ate, a tiny, lizard-like thing with oversized eyes and stunted wings. Jarin spoke softly as he worked. "You're lucky I'm better with tools than people," he muttered. "Nobody's coming to save you, are they?" No response. But she never attacked. When the chains fell, the mother simply laid down again. She didn't run, didn't roar. She just lowered her head beside her hatchling. The look in her eyes said everything. She'd been left to die. Jarin returned to the scrapyard with the dragons hidden under a tarp in his sled. It was risky, stupid even. If the authorities found out, he'd be arrested or worse. But he couldn't leave them. He converted an old fuel dome into a makeshift shelter, sealing the roof and reinforcing it with scrap. Over the next few days, he brought them food, patched their wounds with stolen medical foam, and tried not to freak out when a hatchling began flying short, clumsy loops over the scrap piles. He named the mother Kira and the hatchling Rin. They never spoke. Vesari dragons didn't have human words, but they communicated in other ways. The tilt of the head, a soft trill of recognition, a protective wing over his shoulder when dust storms came. Jarin found himself talking more than he had in years. "You know," he said one night, watching Rin chase sparks from a broken circuit panel, "I always figured I'd die alone on this rust ball. Didn't think I'd end up babysitting dragons." Kira let out a low, amused rumble. 1 week later, the patrols came. A human battleship entered orbit. the Issachar, a black flag unit with a reputation for purging Vesari remnants. They sent down search drones, sweeping crash sites for survivors. Jarin knew it was only a matter of time before they found the barge, and connected the trail to his yard. So he prepared. He moved Kira and Rin into an old mining tunnel beneath the yard, wiring the entrance with shielding panels. He scavenged enough food for a week, rigged warning sensors, and swore to protect them. But he wasn't fast enough. The soldiers came at dawn. 3 armored dropships. 8 men with scanners. They weren't here to ask questions. Jarin met them at the yard gate. Jarin Kess, the squad leader, barked. You filed no report on the Vesari barge crash. That's obstruction of war salvage law. I didn't get close, Jarin lied. Look torch on the outside. The officer narrowed his eyes. Anything unusual lately? Unusual? This is Calvero's 9. The whole moon's unusual. But even as he spoke, one of the drones veered toward the scrap dome, the hidden entrance. Jarin's gut dropped. Wait, he said quickly. There's radiation hotspots in that pile. Unsafe. Too late. The drone scanned it. Beeped. Life forms detected. The squad raised weapons. Get back, Kess. If you're hiding Vesari. I'm not, he snapped. Not Vesari. Not soldiers. They hesitated. I'm telling you, he said, voice cracking. They're not enemies. They're a mother and her kid. Wounded. They were left. I didn't choose this. You should have reported them. They would have been killed. The officer raised his calm bass. We have unregistered Vesari life. And that's when Kira burst from the tunnel. Armor scorched. Scars glowing. Wings unfurled. But she didn't attack. She stood between the soldiers and Rin, who followed behind, trembling. Rin let out a soft, fearful cry and ran to Jarin's side. The soldiers aimed. Jarin stepped in front of the hatchling. Don't, he said. Please. He's just a kid. Kira looked at him. Her eyes blazed, not with fury, but trust. And then she did something no one expected. She lowered her head, submitted. The commander stared, stunned. They're surrendering? One soldier asked. No, Jarin said softly. They're choosing not to fight. The standoff made headlines across the outer colonies. A Vesari war beast sparing humans. A human mechanic shielding alien dragons. A week later, an envoy from a Vesari remnant fleet arrived. So did representatives from Earth's Unified Council. Negotiations began not as enemies, but as survivors. The dragons were given sanctuary. Jarin refused interviews, declined medals. But he did accept one thing, a new home, far from Calvero's 9, where he could live in peace with 2 beings who had changed everything. Rin grew fast. His wings became strong. Kira never left his side, and never forgot the man who freed her. And sometimes, when the stars burned bright, Jarin would sit by their side, watching them fly under the night sky. He was just a mechanic. But for 2 dragons the universe had abandoned, he had been everything.